So here are some tips on how to get started with the Sherman's March Interactive. You'll see here that this is something that you are to read, and to make it all visible, here's a little trick. Right-click the interactive and then hit Show All, and it'll make everything readable to you. We're going to hit that Explore the March button in just a second, but I'm going to read the first part to make sure we're all on the same page. In the presidential election of 1860, a split in Democratic Party virtually assured Republican Abraham Lincoln's election, convincing the South to make a bid for independence rather than face political encirclement. By March 1861, when Lincoln was inaugurated, 7 states of the South, South Carolina, Mississippi, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, and Texas, had adopted ordinances of succession, and the Confederate States of America, with Jefferson Davis as president, were formed. In his inaugural address, Lincoln held that secession was illegal and stated that he intended to maintain federal possessions in the South. On April 12, 1861, when an attempt was made to resupply Fort Sumter in Charleston, South Carolina, Southern artillery opened fire. 3 days later, Lincoln called for troops to put down the rebellion. In response, Virginia, Arkansas, North Carolina, and Tennessee also joined the Confederacy. After 3 years of war, Lincoln named Ulysses S. Grant Supreme Commander of the Union Army to finally defeat the Confederates. General William T. Sherman was named his second in command. Grant and Sherman decide their plan for victory. Grant will confront the Confederate Army in Virginia, and Sherman will attack Atlanta, the main supply center of the Southern War effort. In the fall of 1864, Sherman and his army marched across Georgia and destroyed nearly everything in their path. Sherman reasoned that the war would end sooner if conflict were taken to the civilian South. So now that we've read that, we're going to hit the Explore the March button. And what you guys are going to see now is several different pathways that are present. And we need to consider these pathways because they all have different facts on them. So here's what you're going to do for this interactive. Pick a campaign. You're going to have to visit all 3 and go ahead and explore it. So if you look here, we're at the Savannah campaign, and you see a bunch of little black bubbles with numbers on them. And you're also going to see some little white bubbles with stars. Click around through them and see what kind of information you find. So for example, let's click on the factoid at Atlanta. Battle of Johnsonville, Tennessee. This action was a part of a continuing effort by the Confederates to disrupt the Federal lines that supplied General William T. Sherman's army in Georgia. In the summer of 1864, Sherman captured Atlanta, and by November he was planning his march across Georgia. Meanwhile, the defeated Confederates hoped that destroying his line would draw Sherman out of the Deep South. Nobody was better at raiding than Forrest, but Union pursuit had kept him in Mississippi during the Atlanta campaign. So that tells you a little bit about one of the battles. And then once you click on the black ones, they tell you a little bit about events. So you guys are to kind of go through this and figure out a little more about this campaign in the war. If you have any questions, go ahead and contact me. And there'll also be a sheet that you have to complete as you fill this out to state some facts and information that you have learned during this. If you have any questions, just let me know. Good luck.